Hey everyone, my name is Peter Hall.
My name's Josh Hall.
And we're the Media Maniacs, because we'll review anything under the sun. Today we're going to be talking about the latest Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. A bunch of people hated it, a bunch of people liked it, and a bunch of everybody else...
people who liked it, most of them had mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, but, well, a bunch of other people just thought it was okay. Anyway... It starts off with, like,
a really cool action sequence.
Yeah, with, like, the rebels going up against the First Order, and Poe Dameron is leading a squadron of fighters. They're going up against this huge battle cruiser called a Dreadnought, and they have to take out its cannons, or otherwise the rebel fleet is pretty much toast. And so Poe calls General Hux with an urgent message, and then, like, when Hux responds, Poe just keeps on saying, "I'm waiting for Hux, can you go get him, please?" And finally one of the officers says, "I think he's tooling with you, sir."
That part was stupid.
Yeah, it was funny, though.
Yeah.
Basically, the gist of the message was that Princess Leia was telling General Hux he could fuck himself. I think they actually came pretty close to saying that in the movie, don't you?
They never came close to saying that Princess Leia was telling General Hux that he could fuck himself.
Poe Dameron said there was a message from Leia for Hux, and I'm pretty sure the message came close to saying that.
Whatever, it's too Disney-fied.
Now, we're gonna... whatever. Okay, so, there's a lot of slapstick in this movie for some reason.
Too much slapstick.
Like, Finn wakes up in, like, a medical unit, and he's...
That part was stupid.
He's wrapped in what looks like plastic water bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So he wakes up, he falls out of bed, and, like, all the plastic water bags that he's wearing... Ruptured, they're leaking all over the place. And, the robot, I forgot... What's the robot?
medical droid.
Not the medical droid.
Oh.
What's the robot's name again?
The one that looks like a metal ball?
Yeah.
BB-8.
Right, BB-8 is, like, getting ready to take off with Poe, and, like, BB-8 says, Finn leaking something or whatever, and Poe's like, did you short a circuit or something? So then Poe sees Finn walking around, like, leaking his water bags, and...
that was stupid.
Yeah. So basically, like, The Force Awakens was, like, basically just they redid, like, A New Hope, basically. It was A New Hope all over again.
A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back.
So, like, The Force Awakens is basically A New Hope all over again. The Last Jedi is basically The Empire Strikes Back.
And Return of the Jedi.
No, Return of the Jedi is going to be the next one.
Oh, come on, the scene where, like, Kylo Ren takes Rey to see Snoke was very reminiscent of where Darth Vader took Luke to see Palpatine.
Okay, yeah, I guess it does have both, but we're just gonna have to wait for the next one. Anyway, Rey finds Luke Skywalker. She's expecting to take him back to see the Rebel Alliance leaders, his sister, etc., etc. She's expecting to be trained by him. She gives him his lightsaber, and he just tosses it over his shoulder.
And I have to ask, why was she translating for Chewbacca?
Yeah.
She's known Chewbacca for, like, a couple of months, and Luke has known Chewbacca for 30 years, so why did she need to translate?
You don't know how long she knew Chewbacca. She didn't know him that long, though, that's for sure. Yeah, I've only seen one review about the movie so far, and it was Armored Media's review of it. He and June, or the girl who does Shoe on Head, both hated it.
I've seen Ben Shapiro's review, Chris Stuckman's review, and Jeremy John's review.
Yeah. Okay, so the training sequences, the training sequence with Rey and Luke, parts of it were funny, like Rey accidentally destroys, like, one of the native inhabitants' carts with a rock that she cut in half. It almost crushes two of them, but it just barely misses them. And, like, there was one point where, she and Kylo Ren merge minds together, even though they're, like...
To the point where, like, Kylo Ren gets wet.
Anyway,
Remember how, like,
they're like, spread across the galaxy, and somehow they're able to merge minds, and she tries to shoot him with a blaster, and, their minds are so merged together that he actually feels it for a minute before, like, realizing he's not actually there. But she blows a hole in, like, the building that she's inside, and a bunch of the inhabitants who are caretakers of the Jedi Temple on that planet are mad at her. Rey says, "They don't seem to like me," to Luke, and Luke says, "Yeah, I can't imagine why." Oh.
Okay, let's go back to, like, after Poe blew up the Dreadnought and Princess Leia lambasted him.
Poe manages to destroy the Dreadnought, but at the cost of destroying all their bombers. And so Princess Leia smacks him. She actually slaps him for it.
She demotes
him from commander to captain.
Yeah.
Okay, so then...
And he's like, "Commander, captain, it's all the same to me."
Yeah, so,
then after she demotes Poe from commander to captain...
Basically, the Rebel Alliance leadership just wants to run away from the First Order, whereas Poe wants to take the fight to them.
And after she demotes Poe, the entire bridge gets blown up with Princess Leia on it, and you think that she's dead. I thought that she was dead, but then, like, 15 minutes later... Movie time, I don't know how much time within the movie transpired.
Not 15 minutes. She wasn't out there for 15 minutes. She's only out there for, like...
We don't know
probably less than a few minutes.
It was still stupid. Anyway...
It was not 15 minutes.
15 minutes late running time.
Whatever. So
anyway, she wakes up in space, and somehow she manages to not only survive being blown up, but she manages to survive the vacuum of space.
She manages to, like, float back into the damaged ship.
That's what she did.
And then they take her to the medical bay where she, like,
only had minor frostbite.
Yeah, she spends pretty much almost the rest of the movie
that part
in a
was
coma
stupid.
after that.
I felt insulted, kind of.
Yeah, anyway, Poe, there's this new character named Rose. She's like,
Oh, that was funny where, like, she stunned Finn because she thought he was deserting, but that's...
He was deserting.
Whatever, but that was about the only funny...
He was trying to desert.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's this new character named Rose.
Pretty useless, about as useless as
she
Finn.
has a thing for Finn, like, he runs into her while he's trying to desert. And
her sister was the one that got killed on the bomber.
Yeah, so anyway, they start talking. She tells him how she admires him so much, and how she's had to stun, like, 3 deserters. And then she realizes that that's what Finn was trying to do, so she stuns him too. So that scene was kind of funny. But Finn, Rose, Poe all come up with this plan for Finn and Rose to go find this master hacker so that they can hack in to the First Order's computer systems and go on to, like, the lead ship and disable its tracking systems, because somehow the First Order is tracking the Rebel Alliance even as they go through hyperspace. So the Rebel Alliance is running out of fuel. The First Order is chasing after them. But throughout the entire movie, the Rebel Alliance, the ship they're on, manages to stay just ahead of the First Order so that the barrage that the First Order keeps firing at them only hits their shields. Armored Media called it, in his review, a turtle snail chase. A turtle snail.
That's pretty much what it was.
A turtle snail. Anyway, Finn and Rose go to this, like, casino planet. And, like,
pretty weird.
Rose actually hates the place. Like, she makes almost a direct reference to what ObiWan says about Mos Eisley in A New Hope.
They were trying to, like, mix way too many genres together. they're doing a callback to Episode 4 where Obi-Wan Kenobi calls Mos Eisley
a hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, a hive of scum and villainy.
So
but
she
they're
makes
also
a
doing
reference to
homages to various. They're also doing homages to Casino Royale, Secretariat.
Oh yeah, everybody there looks like they belong in like a 1930s movie or something.
So they were doing homages to
Except there's a whole bunch of weird alien species there.
They were doing homages to like Casino Royale, Secretariat, and she actually frees the animals. Like, animal cruelty is bad, but like, what does it have to do with Star Wars? You're not there to free animals, you're there to find a code breaker.
Anyway, yeah, she says the whole area there is full of awful people and it's terrible, and Finn's like, what are you talking about? This place is great. And she says, look closer, and so Finn sees like these giant, they look like Shoe on Head and Armored Media said that these animals
looked like camel horses.
Yeah, they look like they kind of look like oversized donkeys, but they were really furry like dogs. So yeah, anyway, Finn and Rose and their adventures on this planet.
I hated that whole story.
They free these they free this herd of animals that are being used as race animals. Anyway, so The Phantom Menace, when it came out, it told us what the Force is, how the Force is made up of like a whole bunch of these microscopic creatures called midi-chlorians, and how everyone and every living thing has like a certain concentration of midi-chlorians, so even if they're not Force sensitive, the Force is still in them. So basically this movie was...
you could infer that from what Yoda said in Empire Strikes Back. The Force flows through all living things.
Yeah. The main theme of the theme of Star Wars is that the Force flows through every living thing,
even people who can't use it.
And this movie went to great pains to focus on that, because there's this one scene where they Rose and Finn make it into the stable of these animals, and Finn and Rose is like practically like almost telepathically communicating with these things.
That part was stupid.
So they free the animals, and the scene where the animals race through the casino trashing everything, that was pretty funny. There was this one...
my favorite part
casino
is where...
Didn't you think that casino patron kind of looked like a gremlin? The one that mistook BB-8 for a slot machine?
Mark Hamill cameoed as him.
Didn't you think that thing looked like a gremlin?
More like a critter. A crate.
A crate, yeah. Yeah, there was this thing that kind of looked like a crate. Crates are these things from... they're kind of like gremlins. And there's like 4 critter movies, but there's this thing that kind of looked like a crate, a little furry.
That part was funny, actually. He got mad because he mistook BB-8 for a slot machine, so he deposited a whole bunch of coins, and he got mad when BB-8 wouldn't dispense any jackpots.
Yeah.
But then he like...
yeah, there's the part where like the animals
like trash the casino, they like knock over a jackpot machine. He's like... yeah. Okay. So then, Rose and Finn end up in jail for like parking in the wrong spot on the beach where this casino is, and so they meet like... I thought they ended up in jail for like messing with the animals.
No, they mess with the animals after that. They release the animals after they get out of prison.
Right.
Okay, so they're in jail for parking on the wrong spot on the beach where this casino is, and they meet Benicio del Toro, who does a character named DJ, and they tell him that they're looking for a master code breaker, and he tells them that he's their guy. They dismiss him at first, but then when they see him like walk out of their cell,
I didn't like Benicio del Toro's character either.
They decide to follow him and take him up on his offer to help them out. but he's only helping them out for the money that they can give him. So he helps them escape, and they steal a ship. And there's this one scene where he says, "Let's find out who this ship used to belong to." And he pulls up like holographic records of the previous owner who had dealings with both the First Order and the Rebel Alliance. So he's like, this guy made his bank by selling weapons to the First Order and the Rebel Alliance. Good guys and bad guys. So Finn learns that there's a lot of moral ambiguity in the Star Wars universe. There's good, there's bad, and there's everything in between.
It's like an intergalactic Lord of War type tale.
Yeah. So, people are making their money by supplying weapons to both the First Order and the Rebel Alliance. So anyway, DJ tells Finn and Rose that he's going to need a down payment to help them on their mission. He wants Rose's medallion. It's some kind of, it's made out of some kind of precious metal, but it's got a lot of sentimental value to her. So Finn dresses down DJ for asking for it as part of his payment. But DJ is absolutely steadfast. Like, I'm not going to help you guys out if you don't give it to me. So she gives her medallion.
That was truly one of the most shocking
things. Not yet. She gives him her medallion, which is actually like, it's part of two pieces, and her sister had one piece, but her sister's dead now. So this medallion is all she has left to remember her sister. So they make it onto the First Order ship, and DJ finally tells them that what he needed that thing for was as an electrical conduit, because he says that the metal it's made out of is the best electrical conduit around. And then after he's done using it to short out an electrical system, he gives it back to her. So that was kind of shocking.
Let's go back to Princess Leia's successor and Poe's mutiny. And
oh yeah, Princess Leia's successor is this lady named Vice Admiral Holden.
Whom I thought was Meryl Streep, but was actually Laura Dern from the first Jurassic Park.
Anyway,
she looked like Meryl Streep.
Pretty much almost all of her screen time is spent dressing down dressing down Poe for like being reckless and impulsive and etc. etc. Anyway, he instigates a mutiny against her, and so that he can help Finn and Rose get onto the First Order ship and disable its tracking systems. She manages to get the drop on her captors. Like, she blasts open a pipe and kicks it in their face or something. And then, while this is going on, Princess Leia wakes up from her coma, walks into...
stuns Poe.
She walks into where... not Finn, Poe.
Yeah, Poe.
Walks into where Poe is making his last stand. He's excited and happy to see her walking around, and she walks up to him and stuns him. I thought that was funny. One part that I thought was kind of stupid was how Leia and her successor, until she regains consciousness, both spend the entire movie dressing down Finn for insubordination. And then there's this one line where Princess Leia says, "He's a troublemaker," and Vice Admiral Holden says, "I know, I like him." So why are you giving him shit this entire time?
Let's talk about when Luke was about to destroy the Jedi Temple and then Yoda shows up. That part was funny too, but it's also stupid. Like,
Luke spent like all of his screen time talking about how the Jedi deserve to
die,
fade into obscurity
because they brought about the Sith.
Yeah, because like they let the Empire happen. So, like, he directly mentions Palpatine and, like, all the events in, like, the prequel trilogy, all the events in, like, the original trilogy. He says that the Jedi are responsible for the Sith gaining power and destroying the Republic and etc., etc. And then, like, he's actually just mad at himself because, like, he tried to kill Ben Solo,
which is kind of stupid, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah, he tried to kill Ben Solo, who then would take the name Kylo Ren. Like, Ben Solo is asleep. Luke sneaks up on him. He takes out his lightsaber.
And this is kind of stupid if you think about it, because
And
Luke
he's trying to force himself to kill Ben, but he realizes that he can't do it. But Ben wakes up anyway.
It's stupid that he would even seriously contemplate it, because he spent the entire Return of the Jedi talking about how like he couldn't kill his own father because there was still good in him, and now he's seriously contemplating killing his own nephew.
Yeah.
Just because he senses darkness in him.
Anyway,
that was
Luke
dumb.
causes Ben Solo, who would later become Kylo Ren, to desert the Jedi Order,
Destroy the temple.
sneak Snoke out, and become his apprentice. Seek Snoke out.
Yeah.
There's this one scene where like Luke and Rey get into a fight over it because Rey wants to know if Luke actually did try to kill Kylo Ren. And Luke says that he admits it, but that now he feels ashamed about it because he's actually responsible.
He contemplated doing it, but couldn't go through with it.
Yeah, but he didn't like unsheath his lightsaber in time. Ben Solo wakes up and like gets into a lightsaber fight with Luke. So like he's responsible for Ben Solo turning to the dark side and becoming Kylo Ren. Anyway, one of my favorite parts was the part where
he's
like
about to destroy the Jedi Temple, but he can't do it, so then Yoda appears and then destroys it with Force lightning, and Luke's like, "No! What did you do?" And Yoda's like,
"You destroyed all those sacred texts." Ooh, read them, have you? Page turners, they were not.
That part was funny, but it was also stupid because Luke was gonna destroy it himself, but then he
couldn't do it, and then Yoda does it. And Yoda comes by as a Force ghost and does it.
Yeah, and Luke's all pissed off about it. I'm like, you were going to destroy it yourself until you chickened out. What's the problem?
So this movie is all about conflict. Like, not only the conflict between good and evil, but how there's conflict within everybody and everything. Like Luke wants to destroy Luke. Yeah, Luke wants the Jedi Order to die and fade into obscurity, but he can't bring himself to destroy it. And then he's pissed off when Yoda comes by and does it.
And Yoda actually hits him hard enough so that he falls on his ass, even though he's kneeling. He's like, and Luke's like,
yeah. So
let's talk about when Kylo Ren brings Rey to Snoke.
One of my favorite parts is where Kylo Ren brings Rey to Snoke, and like Snoke is talking about how like he's gonna kill Rey or have Kylo do it, and how stupid she is for thinking that she can turn Kylo Ren, and he admits that the only reason like she and Ben could merge minds and see each other even when they were across the galaxy was because he linked their minds together. So basically, the entire sequence where like it seemed that she didn't even need Luke's training because she was already so one with the Force and stuff. That was probably Snoke augmenting her power.
He admitted it. There's no probably about it. He blatantly admitted to doing it.
Yeah, he admitted to bridging their minds together. So anyway, Snoke goes on to this monologue about
I love how
Kylo Ren
scene when I love how more like he's admonishing Kylo Ren and says that she's ashamed of Kylo Ren because he was bested by a teenage girl who'd never held a lightsaber before, and then he's like, "Take that ridiculous mask off!" No.
Yeah. The movie was
making fun of fan reaction to Kylo's mask. It was great.
Yeah. So yeah, Snoke goes on this monologue about how it was foolish of Rey to think that she could turn Kylo to the dark side, and how Kylo can't do anything without him knowing about it because he knows his mind and all his intentions. He knows what he's gonna do. Blah blah blah. And then like Kylo Ren like slightly manipulates like Luke Skywalker's old lightsaber, turns it on with the Force, and cuts Snoke in half. And then I was like, wow, that was anticlimactic until... And then they get into this, like, fight with, like, Snoke's guards.
Which was pretty awesome, by
Yeah,
the way.
that fight scene was pretty awesome. But then afterwards, I realized that Kylo didn't kill Snoke to join Rey. He wanted Rey to join him. He wanted Rey to become his apprentice. Rey refuses and manages to escape, but in the ensuing struggle, after she and Kylo start to kind of fight, and then the ensuing struggle, both of them are using the Force to pull at Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and they rip it in half. So anyway, the movie ends with like.
Let's talk about when Vice Admiral Holdo goes into light speed and like decimates the First Order fleet.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Okay, there's this one scene where like after Poe wakes up from being stunned, and he finds out that Vice Admiral Holdo and General Leia actually had a plan for the rebellion to survive. They emptied all the ship. They emptied everyone out from their Star Cruiser into escape pods. And Vice Admiral Holdo was the only occupant.
They weren't escape pods, they were actual ships.
Yeah, they were actual ships, whatever. But she was the only occupant on the Star Cruiser until, like, General Hux found out that the ship was a decoy, so he ordered that the First Order fire on the ships. And so Vice Admiral Holdo pretends to go to light speed just to, like, take the First Order off. What's that?
Okay, so Vice Admiral
Holdo
goes into light speed, and she turns the ship like straight into the path of the First Order's like Star Cruiser, and basically it's a kamikaze suicide attack. Like she splits it straight down the middle.
That was awesome.
And like Finn and Rose had been caught by the First Order because DJ, the guy that they hired to be their code breaker,
betrayed them when they
ratted them out when they ratted them out.
Well, he ratted them out because he got caught.
Yeah. So he rats them out, and then, like, Finn gets into a fight with Captain Phasma, which is pretty cool. And then, like...
She splits her mask right
she
down the middle.
She kicks his ass, but then, like, Rose distracts her, so he gets back up, and, like, he hits her right across the face and splits her mask.
Which is a
cracks her mask open.
The Rebels episode where Ahsoka Tano does that to Darth Vader.
Yeah. Anyway, but Rose distracts her when she's about to kill Finn, but then Finn gets up and like hits her like across the face and cracks her mask open, and then like when Vice Admiral Holden does that kamikaze attack, it splits the ship apart. Captain Phasma falls through the floor into like a pit of flames, and then anyway a lot of the rebels are killed by General Hux, but the rest of them manage to make it to this planet, where they send a distress call out to everybody in the galaxy who they think are their allies, and they make their last stand on this planet,
which is a callback to Empire Strikes Back. It looks like it's an ice world, but it's actually made out of salt.
Yeah. Anyway, they make their last stand at this planet. They've got like a fortress there, and Kylo Ren is assaulting it with like a whole bunch of these huge walkers. Like, these things are gigantic. Yes.
We don't need this. This is yours. Put it in your thing.
Don't need that either. So, yeah, anyway, these things are gigantic, and then, like, Luke Skywalker shows up, like, he talks to Leia for a little bit, and then he walks out, and then, like, Kylo Ren tells everyone to, like, blast, like, to shoot him with everything that they've got. I want all those guns to shoot that man. Meow! Like, they're shooting him for, like, 2 minutes straight.
Before General Hux says, "Is that enough? Do you think you've got him?"
And then Luke steps out of the smoke and brushes his robes off, so Kylo Ren goes down to meet him. And then they get into this fight, and, like, Luke's dancing around, not fighting back, he's just dodging Kylo Ren's blows, and finally Kylo Ren, like...
But there's like a subtle foreshadowing to the fact that he's not there. First of all, he's holding the same lightsaber that he threw into the ocean. Secondly, when
he didn't throw it into the ocean.
Yeah, he did. He's holding the lightsaber that he threw over his shoulder.
He didn't throw it into the ocean, though. He just threw it over his shoulder.
He was standing over the cliff. Whatever.
Rey was able to retrieve it, Josh. He didn't throw it into the shoulder. He threw it into the ocean. He threw it on the ground.
Whatever.
Yeah. But Rey and Kylo Ren broke it in half when they were competing over it with the Force.
Anyway, there's subtle foreshadowing that Luke isn't really there. Like, whenever he moves, he's not leaving any footprints that look like blood, because that's the color of the salt, white, but when you disturb it, it's red. He's not leaving any disturbances.
Yeah, but anyway, Kylo Ren bisects him, turns around, Luke is still standing there, like, as if nothing happened. So then Kylo Ren rocks up to him and stabs him, and, like, nothing happens. Like, the lightsaber goes through, but Luke is just standing there like nothing happened.
Reminds me of the part in Total Recall where Arnold Schwarzenegger did the same thing with the hologram projector, and then he's just like, like that.
Yeah. So then...
You think this is the real Quaid? It is!
Okay, so anyway, after that, Luke says, "See you around, kid," and Kylo Ren's like, yeah. So, that was the movie.
Oh, let's talk about how Luke dies.
Yeah, like, Luke was just astral projecting himself, so he wasn't really there.
Which is the coolest and lamest thing ever, because it would have been so much cooler, as Ben Shapiro said, if Luke had really been there, and he survived those blaster barrages by redirecting them with the Force. But since he wasn't really there, it's just kind of lame.
But he was astral projecting, and like after that, like he just disappears like Yoda, and the Return of the Jedi.
I think Chris Stuckman has a fan theory about that, and I agree with him. He thinks that the strain of projecting himself through the Force was too much for Luke, and it just killed him.
Anyway, at the end of the movie, like, you see, like, this 19th century looking kid. Like, he's on the casino planet. He's in, like, one of those animal stalls.
That looks like Tiny Tim.
Yeah, totally 19th century looking.
Or Oliver from Oliver and Company.
And
Let's
like,
go with Oliver.
And, like, you hear the Star Wars theme music. So the movie ends like that, so... Anyway, see you later, YouTubers.